It was an amazing feeling to look around Yellow Dragon Stadium and see that our team had grown to fill 16,000 seats. It was hard to believe that this was the same Chinese internet company I joined 10 years earlier, just as it moved out of a small apartment. And leading us through our improbable journey was this former English teacher, Jack Ma. In 1999, he and 17 friends had started Alibaba.com in his apartment. I greeted Jack as he walked in. I had worked as a vice president in his company for nearly 10 years, as our team survived the internet bubble, fought a war with eBay, and managed to build China's first global internet company. I settled into my seat and wondered, how would Jack address us on this important night? And then, just like any other billionaire in the same situation, Jack took the stage. Well, it may not have been typical for a company chairman, but it wasn't surprising coming from Jack. People outside the company assumed he was crazy, but those of us inside the company knew better. This is the story, in my own words and in the most honest way possible, of what I saw and what I learned from a teacher, his dream, and his country. It's hard for me to imagine the China that Jack was born into. While the West Lake, in Jack's hometown of Hangzhou, provided a quiet escape for its residents, China's Cultural Revolution was just beginning. For the next 10 years, the country was thrown into political chaos. Capitalists and intellectuals were punished and sent to the countryside. Families and friends were divided along class lines. China was closed to the world, and its social turmoil was invisible to most people in the West. I was just a young boy, enjoying a typical childhood in the United States, and I never could have predicted that my own future would one day intersect with that of another young boy growing up half a world away. In 1978, Deng Xiaoping emerged as China's new leader and opened China's doors to the world. Deng headed to the United States and, for the first time in years, Chinese and foreigners began to mix again. Back in Hangzhou, foreigners were beginning to make their way to the West Lake, and it was on the banks of the West Lake that Jack's life would change. When a teacher told him that she'd seen foreign tourists near the lake, Jack headed down to see for himself. Every morning for the next 9 years, Jack rode his bicycle to the Hangzhou Hotel, where he befriended foreign visitors and practiced English with them. Jack's love of English turned out to be much more than just a hobby, and he went on to become an English teacher, making $12 a month at a local university. As Jack was teaching English, Deng Xiaoping's reforms were having dramatic effects on the neighborhood. Factories sprang up as China's low wages and greater openness combined to fuel an export boom. As international trade increased, Jack saw a business opportunity and started a translation company with several of his friends.
我说赚钱这儿可能不是最好的地方啊，尽管我们钱少，但是我说精神上的享受。有时候忙了、累了，他觉得这个事情有意义，他一看就会挺高兴、挺舒适。
As Jack was working on his translation business, I was teaching leadership workshops for high school students in the United States. But I began to hear stories about Americans finding adventure and opportunity in China. So I bought a ticket to Beijing and, after a year of language study, found my dream job. Hello and welcome to another episode of China Through Foreigners' Eyes. My name is Porter Arisman and I come from Denver, Colorado in the United States. For 6 months, I was able to travel China as host of a travel show on Chinese national TV. We visited special economic zones, booming cities, and remote countryside. It was truly the adventure of a lifetime. To be sure, the job had its challenges, such as trying to look cool while dancing around with a handful of pink feathers. But I kept an open mind and found that, if I just went along with things, I was welcomed wherever I went. The job offered a front row seat to China's economic boom. Meeting people from all walks of life, I discovered an incredibly optimistic country. But China in 1995 was a country that also seemed to lack confidence. People seemed ashamed that, despite its long history, China's development still lagged behind the West. Still, people jumped at every chance to talk to foreigners and learn about the West. I could sense they dreamed of traveling abroad to see the outside world with their own eyes. While I was traveling China, Jack was offered what must have seemed like a dream opportunity, to serve as a translator for a project in the United States. Jack flew to the U.S. with high hopes, but when he arrived in Los Angeles, he discovered that the U.S. partner he was sent to work with was a con man. So he fled to Seattle to stay with a family he knew. It was there that he was first introduced to the internet. It was a story I'd later hear him tell the media many times, but for some reason, I never got tired of it.
My friend Stuart, he said, Jack, this is internet. You can find whatever you can find through the internet. I say, really? So I searched the word beer, B-E-R, beer, very simple word. I did not know why I searched the beer. Beer, and I found American beer, German beer, and no Chinese beer. So I was curious, I searched China. And all info search engine say, no China, no data. And I told my friend, can we make a Chinese homepage and post that inside and see what's the result? So I made a Hope Translation Agency, the homepage, very ugly looking homepage. 9:30 we launched it, and 12 o'clock I received 5 emails. 3 from USA, 1 from Japan, 1 from Germany. I was so excited. I think this is something interesting.
When Jack returned to China, he set up China's first internet company, China Pages, a sort of yellow pages for Chinese companies, which offered an online English language directory of Chinese companies and information.
我们在启动一场技术革命，观念革命，对，好几年。理解，给我们的 Java 弄点出来给我们看看，然后把我录的那个声音也放出来给大家听听，然后让他们也试试我们的声音。做。这个就是经我们浙江省的省长外学员，然后我们在里面会把省长的声音也可以做在这里面，欢迎参观浙江。这个是杭州。
With his website up and running, Jack set out to find companies to advertise on his site.
请问你宁波公司是哪里啊？星河，我姓马，我叫马云。
Jack realized that he'd need the cooperation of the government. So he headed to Beijing hoping he could partner with the government body responsible for controlling information in the country. But China's media and communications were strictly controlled. It meant partnering with the government on something as new as the internet was no small challenge.
我们呢，主要是做在国际信息高速公路 Internet 上面，就是国际互联网络上面，给中国在整个网上做宣传。那我们有个域名叫中国黄页，都是在国际网络上面注册登记的。因为外国人现在利用桌子上的电脑，他已经能知道中国或者世界上什么地方买什么东西。他可以直接订货，订给香港，订给台湾，订给新加坡，但他不会订到中国，因为中国在网上没有东西。 我们自信能够做出比美国人更好的漂亮的东西。我希望能够得到各部门的支持，大家分析搞好以后，我来掌握外面的技术拿进来。那么真正的目的是为了将来发展中国自己的信息高速路。我们的工作是把中国的信息和贸易信息，介绍给全世界，把中国的经济、工业、贸易、文化、娱乐和教育全部。去介绍给世界，促进中国与世界的交流。
Jack soon discovered that the government bureaucrats he met with had little interest in partnering with him. Few, if any, had heard of the internet, and they were reluctant to partner with an unknown English teacher, especially in the sensitive area of media and information. Still, Jack continued to seek a government partner, visiting the National Sports Committee, for which he hoped to create a website to support China's Olympic bid.
就是给国家体委在信息高速公路做宣传，把中国的体育全部放到电脑里去，让世界了解中国的体育。中国体育这个名字我们注册下来了。那么他说打开里面都空的，打开里面都空的。那么奥运会呢马上就开始。
我跟你讲啊，这件事情呢，你应该首先应该先约，办事程序应该你先约。你要不约的话呢，很难给你做一个很满意的回答。
我想占领海外的市场，这是很重要。就是说，等到有这么一天，中国的我们所有的电脑打开以后，里面都是外国的东西。你打开电脑，发现满天遍地的都是外国的东西，这时候后悔就来不及。失败了也无所谓，我至少把一个概念告诉了别人。我不成功，会有人成功的。但首先一点，我希望中国人早点成功，不要再拖下去。
As Jack found out, 1995 was too early for an internet business in China. The customers weren't ready, the government wasn't ready, and maybe even Jack wasn't ready. Before long, he gave up on China pages, and his dream would have to wait. By 1999, internet fever had hit Wall Street. Each day saw a new company go public on NASDAQ, minting thousands of fresh millionaires. And among the dot-coms, e-commerce companies were the market darlings. Consumer marketplaces like eBay and Amazon were soon followed by business-to-business or B2B marketplaces like VerticalNet, Ariba, and Commerce One. They promised to bring the world's businesses online, and their initial public offerings, or IPOs, made them worth billions of dollars. Their success inspired hundreds of new business marketplaces, led by entrepreneurs with one thing in common: dreams of cashing out with a big IPO. Far away from Silicon Valley, Jack was working in an e-commerce division of a government ministry. But as small businesses began to connect to the internet, Jack decided it was time to try again. So he gathered 17 friends in his apartment and laid out a plan to compete with the US internet titans. They built their own global business marketplace and named it Alibaba.com, hoping small businesses would use the site to say open sesame to global trade.
我95年的时候，我记得我做出的决定，我自己跟自己讲，我可能改变了自己一辈子所从事的事业。而今天，我想把大家请过来，跟大家共同探讨以后至少5年、10年我们要做的事情。那么阿里巴巴我们将做成怎么样？我想，从黄页的时候我就提过，黄页所要瞄准的对象不是国内战略，而是国际战略。我们所有的竞争对手不在于中国，而在于美国的硅谷。如果说第一，我们把阿里巴巴定位，就把它作为国际战略，我们不要把它定位是国内战略。第二个呢，我想就是我们要学会硅谷人的一种拼劲。如果说我们是早上8点钟下班，8点钟上班，5点钟下班，这个不是搞高科技啊，这个绝对不是我们